Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast. My name is Amir. Before I get started on today's episode, I want to thank everybody for following the podcast on Spotify. Also, thank you for following on YouTube. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm on my path to 2,000 subscribers. So if you guys could subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. So it's time to pod, y'all. So for today's episode, I want to talk about a report that came out, and Bam Adebayo was talking about how he thinks he's being unfairly critiqued when it comes to Defensive Player of the Year voting. He's frustrated that he hasn't had an opportunity to win that award. And Bam, who's a three-time All-Star, was just wondering how am I not winning this when other players that have won this award, who are obviously good defensive players, have had better defensive players around them. So basically, he's saying that I'm the anchor of this Miami Heat defense filled with undrafted players in the rotation. And there's no other really elite defenders on this roster except for Jimmy Butler. But Jimmy's going to be 35 and hasn't been a very elite defender in few years. So Bam was quoted to say, a point guard, Marcus Smart, got it over me. A center, Rudy Gobert, got it over me. A power forward, Jaren Jackson Jr. has gotten over me. The goalpost move for me in certain degrees. It's me and a lot of undrafted dudes, and we still have a top five defense. Bam has also said these other guys have all NBA dudes around them. Some of it is they don't really care about us, and that's fine. I think they should pay attention to consistency because being top five DPOY, I think I have the longest streak of all defensive teams, so the goalposts move for me. I totally understand what Bam is trying to say. Adebayo has made five consecutive all defensive teams, and he's finished in the top five in Defensive Player of the Year voting in each of those seasons, including last year. He finished third after Rudy Gobert won it again for his second or third time, and then Victor Wembanyama got second place. So it is understanding that Bam is upset because I think Bam is a better overall defender than Rudy Gobert specifically. Rudy's a good defender. He's a good rim protector, but Rudy can't guard 1 through 5. Bam Adebayo can guard literally 1 through 5. He is one of our best perimeter defenders. He's our best rim protector. He can switch, rotate, guard the point of attack, guard big men in the post. He only has trouble, typically, it seems like, with Joker and Embiid, but those are two huge centers, true centers, who are MVPs. So it's understandable that he can have trouble with those guys who are two of the best players in the NBA, but he's also shut them down time from time. So I think it is unfair. And I think Bam does make an interesting point when it comes to the talent around some of the recent defensive players of the year. So again, take Rudy Gobert, for example, who won the award last season. His teammate in Minnesota, Jaden McDaniels, was also selected to an all defensive team. He was on the second team. And he also has Anthony Edwards, who's also um, really good when it comes to being a two-way player. He's obviously only 22 years old. He's trying to be the best player in the NBA. If you want to be the best player in the NBA, you got to be a two-way player. You got to be like Kobe and MJ and Kawhi and those types of players who are going to take on the best defender or offensive player on the defensive end and be the best offensive player on the other end. So Anthony Edwards, he received all defensive team votes, although he wasn't named to a team. Who on the Miami Heat was voted on an all defensive NBA team, or who was a top defensive player on this Miami Heat team with him? Was it Haywood Highsmith? I don't think so. Was it Jimmy Butler? No. Those are the only two real good defenders he's really had around him. Caleb Martin, good defender, but not elite. Otherwise, he's been playing with Tyler Hero, liability, Terry Rozier, liability, Duncan Robinson, liability. All the centers that he's had in his tenure. Kelly Olynyk wasn't horrible. He was actually a decent defender, but still not the best. Myers Leonard, Thomas Bryant, Cody Zeller, Dwayne Dedman. Like, he hasn't really had any good rim protectors at center playing next to him or power forward. So it is super unfortunate. And then also, if you look at like Marcus Smart winning it, I thought that was ridiculous, even though Marcus Smart is a really tough, gritty defender for a point guard, really good defender. But when he won in 2021, when he was Boston with the Celtics, he also had Robert Williams II, who was also named to the All Defensive Team, also one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. And then, of course, Tatum and Brown are not slouches on defense. And Al Horford 3 years ago, at age 32, 33, still a pretty good defender in his own right. So I think Bam has a great argument. For being upset and frustrated why he's never won it. Like, I don't understand. Right now, we focus more on the metrics of blocks and steals, like those statistics, because Rudy Gobert gets 2 or 3 blocks per game, and then other players like Marcus Smart was getting a few steals per game. Those are important. Of course, those are important metrics and stats, but they're vanity stats to a certain degree when it comes to focusing on who's the best defensive player of the season. Overall defensive player. That's Bam Adebayo. Not trying to be biased here. Even Stephen A. Smith agrees with that. He's talked about Bam Adebayo and how he's been robbed of the DPOY award, and basically he came out and said facts based on everything Bam just said and what I quoted earlier. He totally agrees with Bam Adebayo. I think it's unfair. I can't believe Rudy keeps winning these defensive player of year awards. It's time for Bam to finally win one because he is the best defensive player on the Miami Heat and in the NBA. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.